The chamber smelled of rust and decay, the air thick with the metallic tang of asteroid dust and the slow rot of abandoned disputes. Lira Vey stood at its heart, her boots planted firm on the iron-veined floor, though she swayed beneath the fractured glow of the dying star. The jagged skylight above did little to illuminate the gathering before her. Hulking Vaxari, their chitinous bodies shifting with the dry click of restless mandibles, and the sinuous Sithra, coiled in their high perches, forked tongues flicking in anticipation. She had arrived too late, delayed by a conveniently timed shuttle malfunction, ensuring she missed the vote, but not the stage set for her humiliation. The vote was cast. Kresh muttered, his claws twitching in the ceremonial gesture of shame. The assembly has chosen stability. Lyra's breath came shallow, though her voice held. You mean surrender. A ripple of sound coursed through the gathered bodies, Vaxari chittering, Sithra hissing, neither side comfortable with the truth spoken plainly. The Droon Empire's offer had been clear: access to the Koryn Union's rich asteroid fields in exchange for the slow, bureaucratic suffocation of her people. A bloodless conquest, dressed in the language of necessity. She turned her gaze to the Sithra delegates, their jewel-toned scales glinting in the dim light. You thrive on treachery, but you lack foresight. The Droon do not make allies. They make use of bodies until they break. The eldest among them, a mottled green Sithra named Yiska, exhaled a slow, dry laugh. And yet here you are, making your plea to the doomed. Lira exhaled sharply. We stanched your wounds after the Nebula Wars. We mapped the safe corridors when your own navigators failed. You are here because of us. Yiska uncoiled, slithering forward on her perch. Yes, she admitted, and now we are here because of them. A clawed finger gestured toward the chamber doors where the enforcers waited, silent as the void. Lyra's fingers curled into fists. So you vote to trade our lives for their ore? A different sound now, softer, hesitant. Kresh's claws scraped against the stone. He did not meet her gaze. We vote to survive. It was not a lie, but it was the kind of truth that soured the stomach. The Vaxari were warriors, but they had known too many losses, and the Droon had whispered assurances of protection. The Sithra were opportunists, but they were not fools, only fools when tempted with promises of dominion. And the Koryn, her people, had played their role too well. They had made themselves necessary but not powerful. Their medicines had soothed wounds, not struck fear. Their maps had guided ships, not dictated their course. They had given and given until they stood with empty hands before an empire that only took. The enforcers moved. Lira did not. She could run. She had done so before in halls like this, on worlds where betrayal wore a different face but smelled just the same. But this time, running was part of the trap, and captivity was the only way to spring it. Somewhere beyond these walls, there were those who still listened, those who understood that the fall of one was not the end of all. She could fight if she were willing to die fast, but there were other ways to bleed an empire. The chamber doors hissed open, but she spoke first. The Droon will come for you next. A pause, brief but telling. The enforcers hesitated, not from defiance, but because whispers had already begun in the corridors. Murmurs of the Droon altering terms in ways the assembly had chosen to ignore. Even the assembly did not scoff. Lira smiled, slow and thin. When they have what they want, what use will you be? You think you have made a deal. You have only set the price for your extinction. Kresh's mandibles clicked together, uneasy. Yiska's tongue flicked out, tasting the room. From the shadows, a younger Vaxari delegate let out a derisive chitter. Empty words from a broken people, he scoffed, but his claws tapped anxiously against the stone, a betraying rhythm of uncertainty. Doubt was a contagion, and she had seeded it deep. It would not save her. It might not even save her people, but it would fester. As the enforcers seized her arms, Lira met Kresh's gaze at last. "Enjoy your stability," she whispered, "while it lasts." Then the doors shut behind her, and the dying star burned on.